You believe your soulmate is madly in love. But reality says don't scroll, listen to this. This message is for you, and your heart needs this right now, because the moment you read that title, something shifted inside you, a quiet pause in your chest, a flicker of awareness, a feeling that the universe just tapped you on the shoulder and said, pay attention, and listen closely. You didn't arrive here by accident. You were guided here because your soul is ready to hear what your mind has been avoiding, and your heart needs this right now, because deep down you've been holding on to a version of this connection that feels comforting, hopeful, and beautiful, even when the reality hasn't fully matched the dream. And don't scroll, because this is where clarity begins. And listen to this, you've been interpreting small gestures as grand promises, silence as mystery, emotional distance as hidden passion, and your heart created meaning because it wanted to believe in destiny, in soul contracts, in the idea that love like this must be real. And your heart needs this right now because hope can be powerful, but when hope turns into illusion, it keeps you waiting, shrinking, settling, and delaying the love you actually deserve. And don't scroll, because the universe is stepping in to wake you up gently, not to shame you, not to hurt you, but to protect your emotional future. And listen closely, the reason you keep seeing angel numbers lately, like 1111 when you're thinking about them, 22 when you're questioning the connection, 44 when you feel emotionally tired, is because your spirit team is trying to pull you out of fantasy and into truth, and your heart needs this right now because truth is not here to break you, it's here to free you. And don't scroll, because freedom is closer than you think. And listen to this, the reality is not that your soulmate doesn't care at all, the reality is that the love you imagined is not matching the effort they're giving, and that gap is what's been creating confusion inside you. That emotional tug-of-war between what you feel and what you receive, and your heart needs this right now because you were never meant to beg for clarity, chase attention, or decode mixed signals. Soulmate energy is supposed to feel aligned, steady, and mutual, not draining, uncertain, or one-sided. And don't scroll, because this is the awakening moment. And listen closely, you've been feeling restless lately, questioning more, sensing emotional heaviness without knowing why. That's your intuition growing louder. That's your higher self rising up and saying, it's time to stop romanticizing what isn't fully showing up. And your heart needs this right now because you are stepping into a new level of emotional maturity, one where you no longer accept crumbs disguised as destiny. And don't scroll, because the universe is proud of you for getting here. And listen to this. Every soulmate connection that enters your life has a purpose. Some come to stay, some come to teach, some come to awaken you. And right now this connection is shifting from fantasy into lesson, from illusion into insight, and your heart needs this right now because lessons are what prepare you for the real thing, the love that doesn't confuse you, the connection that doesn't leave you guessing, the partner who doesn't make you question your worth. And don't scroll, because this is where the story gets powerful. And listen closely. The reason this feels emotional is because you invested your heart, your energy, your hope, and that matters. Your feelings were real even if the situation wasn't balanced, and your heart needs this right now because you don't need to feel embarrassed for loving deeply. That's a gift, but now you're being called to love wisely too. And don't scroll, because wisdom is activating. And listen to this. You may start noticing signs around you, repeated songs about letting go, random messages about self-worth, people around you speaking words that feel directly meant for you. These are spiritual nudges guiding you away from attachment and toward alignment, and your heart needs this right now because alignment is where real soulmate energy lives, not in chasing, not in waiting, but in mutual choosing, and don't scroll, because something big is coming next, and listen closely. When you finally release the version of this connection that only existed in your imagination, you create space for something real to enter your life, whether that's your soulmate stepping up in truth or the universe bringing someone new who meets you where you stand emotionally. And your heart needs this right now because you are not meant to stay stuck in longing, you are meant to experience love that feels safe, warm, and consistent. And don't scroll, because part 1 ends here for a reason. This is the awakening stage, the moment your soul starts separating illusion from truth. And what comes next will reveal what the universe is actually preparing for you behind the scenes, why this realization is happening now, and how your soulmate journey is about to shift in ways you never expected. So stay here, stay open, stay grounded, because destiny just pressed pause on your old story and is about to press play on a new one. Stay with this moment, because now the second layer of truth begins unfolding, and this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, not to stir pain, but to bring clarity that protects your future, because once illusion cracks, awareness rushes in like light through a window that's been closed for too long, and you may already feel it, that strange mix of sadness and relief, the realization that what you believed was madly in love was actually emotional attachment wrapped in hope. Potential dressed up as certainty, and your heart needs this right now because you've been carrying the weight of expectation alone, holding on to imagined outcomes, replaying conversations, searching for meaning in silence, and trying to convince yourself that patience would magically turn inconsistency into devotion. And here's the truth the universe wants you to hear gently. Love that's meant for you does not require constant decoding, emotional exhaustion, or quiet suffering, and you were never designed to overextend your spirit just to keep a connection alive. And this realization is arriving now because your soul has reached a new frequency, one that no longer tolerates emotional imbalance, one that craves mutual effort, honest communication, and steady energy. And that's why you've been feeling restless lately, not because you're losing hope, but because your inner wisdom is pushing you forward, nudging you to stop shrinking your needs to fit someone else's emotional limitations. And your heart needs this right now because self-respect is awakening, and when self-respect rises, old patterns begin dissolving, patterns of waiting too long, excusing behavior, ignoring your intuition, and accepting uncertainty as normal. And those patterns are breaking because you're no longer the same person who first entered this connection. You've grown emotionally, spiritually, energetically, and growth changes what you can tolerate, what you desire, and what you attract. And this is where angel numbers come in again, not as mystical decoration, but as confirmation signals, showing up when you're thinking deeply, when you're questioning, when you're standing at emotional crossroads, reminding you that divine timing is active, that this awakening isn't random, and that something greater is aligning beyond what you can see right now. And while you're experiencing this inner shift, your soulmate energy is also being affected, whether they realize it or not, because emotional bonds respond to frequency changes. And when you stop overgiving, stop chasing, stop feeding fantasy, the dynamic changes, the tension rises on their side, the comfort of emotional access fades, and reflection begins. And reflection forces people to confront what they've taken for granted, what they've avoided addressing, and what they truly feel beneath distraction. And this is not revenge energy, it's balance restoring itself, because when one person steps into clarity, the universe recalibrates the connection. And your heart needs this right now because you are no longer meant to carry the emotional load alone. You are meant to experience partnership energy, not emotional labor. And partnership energy feels different. It's calm, steady, reciprocal, nourishing instead of draining. And this stage of your journey is teaching you discernment, the ability to tell the difference between chemistry and compatibility, attraction and alignment, fantasy and reality, and this discernment is a gift, because it protects you from repeating the same emotional cycles with different faces, and you may start noticing how your standards are quietly rising, how you feel less tolerant of vague communication, how you crave emotional transparency, how you desire consistency more than intensity. And that's not you becoming difficult, that's you becoming aligned with your worth, and alignment always upgrades your love life, even when it feels uncomfortable at first. And here's something important your soul wants you to know. The connection you believed was everything was actually preparing you for something deeper, healthier, and more stable, even if that future connection ends up being with the same person who finally evolves or someone entirely new who meets you where you stand emotionally. And your heart needs this right now because your destiny is not tied to one person's emotional readiness, it's tied to your growth, your healing, your choices, and your willingness to step into self-love. And self-love is not isolation, it's the foundation that allows real love to enter without destroying your peace. And this stage is also helping you release emotional guilt, the feeling that you should wait longer, try harder, give more, when in reality you've already given enough, and releasing that guilt frees your energy, allowing you to breathe again emotionally, think clearly, and reconnect with your own life, passions, goals, and identity beyond this connection. And that reconnection is powerful, because it shifts your focus from, what are they doing, to, what do I need? And that shift changes everything, and when your attention returns to yourself, your vibration rises, your confidence strengthens, your presence becomes magnetic, and that magnetism attracts healthier experiences, and healthier experiences reinforce your self-worth, creating a positive cycle instead of emotional depletion. And as this second phase continues unfolding, you may feel moments of emotional clarity hitting you unexpectedly, during quiet mornings, late nights, or random daily moments, where you suddenly understand why things unfolded the way they did, why delays happened, why silence existed, why confusion lingered. And these realizations are not meant to make you bitter, they are meant to make you wiser, and wisdom is what carries you into the next chapter, not resentment, not regret, but understanding, and understanding brings peace, and peace allows you to move forward without dragging emotional baggage behind you. And this part ends here because now the foundation has shifted, illusion has cracked, clarity has entered, and the next phase will reveal how this awakening begins reshaping your soulmate journey in the physical world, through events, conversations, and unexpected turns that will surprise you in ways you don't yet see coming. Stay grounded, because now the third wave of this awakening begins moving through your life, and this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because what started as emotional discomfort is transforming into personal power, the kind that changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you allow others to treat you, and how you view love itself. And this stage feels different from the first realizations. It's not just understanding anymore, it's embodiment, the shift where knowledge becomes action, where clarity becomes behavior, where self-worth becomes visible in the choices you make daily. And you may notice this showing up in small ways at first, saying no without guilt, setting boundaries calmly, choosing rest over emotional drama, investing time into your own growth, creativity, and purpose. And these choices might seem ordinary, but they carry huge energetic weight, because they signal to the universe that you are ready for healthier experiences. And readiness is what attracts aligned opportunities, and aligned opportunities bring relationships that reflect your emotional maturity, and as you step into this empowered state, the dynamic with your soulmate begins changing automatically, not because you are trying to manipulate outcomes, but because energy responds to growth, and when one person stops feeding fantasy and starts standing in truth, the balance shifts, and that shift creates emotional tension on the other side, forcing reflection, self-questioning, and sometimes regret. And this is not something you need to celebrate or fear, it's simply the natural consequence of evolution, because when you rise, the connection either rises with you or falls away, and both outcomes serve your highest good, and your heart needs this right now because you were never meant to stay stuck in emotional waiting rooms, holding on to maybes and what-ifs. You were meant to experience real connection, real presence, real reciprocity. And this stage is aligning you with that reality, and you may start noticing how your perspective on soulmate energy is changing, shifting from romantic fantasy to deeper understanding, realizing that soulmate connections are not always meant to last forever, but they are always meant to transform you, and transformation is what prepares you for lasting love, and lasting love feels stable, supportive, emotionally safe, and consistent, not confusing, draining, or unpredictable, and this realization is important, because it rewires your expectations, helping you stop chasing intensity and start valuing peace, and peace is magnetic, because it signals emotional security, and emotional security attracts partners who are capable of building something real, and this stage is also strengthening your intuition, making it easier to sense what aligns and what doesn't, helping you read energy instead of just words, noticing patterns instead of isolated moments, and this intuitive awareness protects you from repeating old cycles, because you are no longer blinded by hope alone, you are guided by inner wisdom, and inner wisdom is powerful, because it connects you directly to your higher self, the part of you that knows what you deserve, what you need, and what you're ready for, and while this is happening within you, external circumstances may begin shifting too, not dramatically at first, but subtly. Changes in communication patterns, shifts in how people treat you, new opportunities entering your life, unexpected invitations, or encounters that remind you that your world is bigger than one connection, and these shifts are signs that your energy is expanding, creating space for new experiences to enter, and expansion always feels slightly uncomfortable at first, because it pulls you out of familiar emotional territory, but discomfort is temporary, growth is permanent. And this stage is also inviting you to reconnect with joy, laughter, creativity, and pleasure, things that may have been overshadowed by emotional focus on your soulmate, and this reconnection is important, because it restores balance, reminding you that love is only one part of your life, not the whole story, and when your life feels full, your heart becomes less attached to outcomes, more open to flow, and flow brings synchronicities, opportunities, and surprising blessings, and you may start noticing repeating themes, songs, phrases, or symbols appearing around you, reinforcing the idea that you are on the right path, that alignment is active, that your journey is supported by forces beyond what you can see, and these signs are not meant to create dependence, they are meant to strengthen your trust in the process, to remind you that you are not walking this path alone, and as this third phase continues unfolding, you may feel moments of emotional courage rising, the willingness to speak your truth, to express your needs, to walk away from situations that no longer honor you, and this courage is not aggressive, it is calm, grounded, and steady, and that steadiness is what creates respect, both from others and from yourself, and self-respect is the foundation of healthy relationships, because it sets the tone for how you are treated, and this stage is also helping you release the emotional identity you once carried, the version of you that waited, hoped, overgave, and doubted, and replacing it with a stronger identity, one rooted in self-awareness, boundaries, and emotional balance. And this identity shift is powerful, because who you become determines what you attract, and you are becoming someone who attracts healthier love, deeper connection, and mutual effort. And as this part of the journey unfolds, you may sense that something significant is approaching, not necessarily dramatic, but meaningful. A turning point where the universe responds to your growth with new opportunities, clarity, or changes in direction, and this anticipation feels calm rather than anxious, steady rather than frantic, because it's rooted in readiness rather than desperation, and that readiness is your confirmation that you are evolving beyond old emotional patterns and stepping into a new chapter of your soulmate journey. And part 3 ends here because this is the embodiment phase, the moment where awareness turns into action, where growth becomes visible, and where the foundation is being set for the next shift that will reshape your emotional landscape in powerful ways. Remain present, because now the 4th phase of this awakening begins weaving itself into your daily reality, and this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because this stage is about integration, the moment when emotional insight stops living only in your thoughts and starts shaping how you move through the world. And you may notice subtle shifts in your behavior, choosing calm responses instead of emotional reactions, speaking with clarity instead of hesitation, prioritizing peace instead of chaos. And these shifts may seem small, yet they are powerful indicators that your inner transformation is becoming embodied, and embodiment is what changes destiny, because when your actions align with your growth, the universe responds by rearranging circumstances, opportunities, and connections around you. And during this phase, you may feel a stronger sense of self-direction, knowing what you want without needing constant validation, trusting your instincts more deeply, and feeling less pulled by emotional turbulence. And this steadiness is not emotional numbness, it is balance, the ability to experience feelings without being controlled by them. And balance is attractive, because it signals emotional maturity, and emotional maturity draws healthier people into your orbit, including potential reconnections with your soulmate in a more grounded form or entirely new partnerships that reflect your evolution. And this stage is also encouraging you to clean emotional space, releasing lingering resentment, unresolved anger, or silent disappointment that may still be living quietly inside your heart. And letting go does not mean forgetting, it means choosing not to carry unnecessary weight forward. And when you release emotional heaviness, your energy becomes lighter, more open, more magnetic, and this magnetism creates synchronicities, unexpected meetings, meaningful conversations, and opportunities that align with your higher frequency. And you may already be noticing this through small signs, strangers offering kind words, old friends reconnecting, new possibilities appearing in your professional or personal life. And these are not distractions, they are reminders that your world is expanding beyond the narrow focus of one emotional storyline. And this expansion is important, because it prevents you from shrinking your identity around one connection, allowing you to remember who you are beyond romance, beyond longing, beyond waiting. And this remembrance is powerful, because it restores your sense of wholeness, and wholeness is what attracts genuine partnership, not emotional dependency. And this phase is also about strengthening your inner voice, learning to trust the quiet guidance that arises when something feels aligned or misaligned. And this intuitive sensitivity becomes sharper as you continue healing, helping you recognize patterns early, set boundaries with grace, and avoid repeating cycles that once drained you. Emotionally, and while you are integrating these changes, your soulmate energy is also being affected, whether through reflection, emotional awareness, or shifting priorities, because energetic connections respond to growth, and when one side evolves, the entire dynamic recalibrates, creating space for honesty, closure, or transformation, and this recalibration may feel uncomfortable at times. Because change always disrupts familiarity, but discomfort is temporary, while growth is lasting, and this stage is teaching you patience with the process, understanding that emotional transformation unfolds gradually, not instantly, and allowing yourself to breathe through moments of uncertainty instead of rushing to conclusions, and patience is powerful, because it keeps you grounded, present, and emotionally available without becoming attached to outcomes, and attachment once created anxiety, while presence creates peace. And peace allows intuition to guide you toward aligned decisions, and this stage is also inviting you to redefine what love means to you, shifting away from fantasy-driven expectations toward values-based connection, recognizing that true intimacy is built on mutual respect, communication, consistency, and emotional safety, and this redefinition is shaping the type of relationships you will attract moving forward, because you no longer desire intensity without stability. You seek depth with balance, and this desire will guide your choices, conversations, and boundaries, and as this phase unfolds, you may feel moments of emotional clarity arriving unexpectedly, sudden understanding about past interactions, realizations about why certain situations unfolded the way they did, and these insights bring closure on an energetic level, even before external resolution appears, and energetic closure is important, because it frees you from carrying unfinished emotional stories, allowing you to step into the present moment with a lighter heart, and this lightness is not naive, it is wisdom, the ability to move forward without bitterness, resentment, or emotional baggage, and this wisdom will shape how you approach future connections, including any interaction with your soulmate, allowing you to engage from clarity instead of longing, from confidence instead of insecurity, and this shift in approach changes everything, because it removes the power imbalance that once existed, replacing it with emotional equality, and equality is essential for healthy connection, because it creates mutual respect and shared effort, and this stage is also reminding you that your worth is not measured by how much someone else desires you, but by how deeply you honor yourself, and this self-honor shows up in the way you speak, the choices you make, and the standards you maintain, and as self-honor strengthens, your external reality adjusts, because the universe mirrors your inner state, and inner alignment attracts external alignment, and this is why you may begin noticing improvements in other areas of your life, career opportunities, creative inspiration, social connections, or personal goals, because growth in one area often creates ripple effects across all areas, and these ripples are signs that you are stepping into a new chapter of your life, one that is not defined by emotional waiting, but by intentional living, and intentional living brings fulfillment, because it allows you to shape your path rather than react to circumstances. And this stage is also about trusting yourself enough to move forward without needing all the answers, allowing life to unfold organically while staying grounded in your values, and this trust creates emotional resilience, the ability to adapt to change without losing stability, and resilience is essential, because it allows you to navigate relationships with strength instead of fear, and as this phase approaches completion, you may sense that something meaningful is preparing to shift. Externally, a conversation, a realization, or a change in direction that reflects your inner growth, and this anticipation feels calm rather than frantic, steady rather than rushed, because it is rooted in readiness rather than desperation, and that readiness is your confirmation that you have integrated enough growth to meet the next stage of your soulmate journey with clarity, confidence, and emotional balance. And part 4 ends here because this is the integration phase, the moment when awareness becomes action, when healing becomes habit, and when your inner transformation begins shaping your outer reality in powerful, lasting ways. Stay steady, because now the 5th phase of this awakening moves into manifestation energy, the moment when your internal shifts begin producing visible change in your outer world, and this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because everything you've been learning emotionally is preparing you to experience different outcomes, not just think differently, but live differently, and this stage carries a quiet momentum, the sense that things are finally moving forward after a long season of emotional stillness. And you may already notice this through subtle signs, feeling lighter when you wake up, thinking less about the past, sensing more excitement about the future, and these feelings are not random, they're signals that your frequency is changing, and when frequency changes, reality responds, and reality responds through opportunities, conversations, encounters, and unexpected moments that align with who you are becoming. And this stage is powerful because it marks the transition from healing to creation, from reflection to action, from emotional recovery to emotional expansion, and you may feel inspired to take steps you once avoided, reaching out for new opportunities, exploring passions you paused, reconnecting with parts of yourself that were neglected while you focused on this soulmate connection, and this reconnection to self is essential, because it restores balance, reminding you that your life is bigger than one relationship, and when your life feels full, your heart becomes less attached to outcomes and more open to flow, and flow is where miracles quietly happen, not dramatic spectacle, but aligned timing, smooth transitions, and supportive circumstances that seem to arrive at just the right moment. And while you move into this manifestation stage, your soulmate energy is also being influenced by the shift, because emotional bonds react when dynamics change. And when you stop waiting and start living, the connection either rises to meet you or fades into the background, and both outcomes serve your growth, because both reflect alignment instead of attachment. And this stage is also encouraging you to refine your emotional standards even further, recognizing what kind of communication you deserve, what level of effort feels healthy, what behavior reflects genuine interest, and this refinement is important, because manifestation responds to clarity, not confusion, and clarity creates direction, and direction shapes outcomes. And as your direction becomes more defined, your choices become stronger, allowing you to say yes to what aligns and no to what drains you, and this discernment protects your energy, allowing you to remain open without becoming depleted, and openness is powerful when paired with boundaries, because it creates space for love while preserving your peace, and peace is becoming a priority for you now, replacing emotional turbulence with calm confidence. And this calm confidence is magnetic, because it signals emotional security, and emotional security attracts partners who are capable of building something real, and this stage is also about reclaiming your voice, speaking your truth gently but firmly, expressing needs without fear, and communicating boundaries without guilt, and this expression changes how others interact with you, including your soulmate, who will begin responding differently to your grounded presence, noticing the shift in your tone, your posture, your emotional availability, and this change may trigger reflection, curiosity, or renewed interest, but regardless of their response, your growth remains the foundation of your next chapter, and this stage is also teaching you patience with manifestation, understanding that not everything appears instantly, that some outcomes require alignment of multiple factors, emotional readiness, timing, and circumstance. And patience allows you to remain calm while the universe arranges details behind the scenes, and this calm prevents you from forcing situations, which often creates resistance, while allowing natural unfolding creates harmony, and harmony feels supportive rather than stressful, and you may notice that situations begin resolving more smoothly, misunderstandings clearing faster, opportunities appearing unexpectedly, and these are signs that you are aligned with your path, that your energy is cooperating with divine timing, and this cooperation is what accelerates manifestation. And this stage is also about strengthening trust in yourself, trusting your ability to handle whatever outcome arises, trusting your emotional resilience, trusting your growth, and this self-trust replaces fear of the unknown with curiosity about what's next, and curiosity keeps you open, present, and engaged with life, and engagement creates momentum, and momentum attracts opportunity. And opportunity leads to new experiences that reinforce your evolution, and as this phase continues, you may feel inspired to invest in your personal development, learning new skills, exploring new interests, or deepening spiritual practices that connect you to your inner guidance, and this investment strengthens your sense of purpose, making you less dependent on external validation and more connected to your own direction. And purpose-driven energy is powerful, because it attracts people and situations that support your growth, and this stage is also about releasing the final emotional attachments that no longer serve you, letting go of expectations about how things should unfold, and embracing openness to how things actually unfold, and this openness creates flexibility, allowing you to adapt to change without losing stability, and adaptability is essential for emotional maturity, because it allows you to grow through transitions instead of resisting them, and as this manifestation stage deepens, you may notice that your dreams, goals, and desires begin shifting, aligning more closely with who you are becoming rather than who you used to be, and this alignment brings satisfaction, because it reflects authenticity, and authenticity is fulfilling, because it allows you to live in truth rather than performance, and this truth will guide your future relationships, allowing you to attract partners who resonate with your real self instead of an emotional mask. And this stage is also reminding you that love is not meant to feel heavy, complicated, or exhausting, it is meant to feel supportive, inspiring, and grounding, and you are now becoming someone who expects that kind of love, and expectation shapes reality, because what you believe you deserve influences what you allow, and what you allow determines what stays, and as this phase approaches completion, you may sense a shift in energy around you, the feeling that something meaningful is about to happen externally, a conversation, an opportunity, or a change in direction that reflects your inner growth, and this anticipation feels calm rather than frantic, steady rather than rushed, because it is rooted in readiness rather than desperation, and that readiness is your confirmation that manifestation is aligning with your evolution, preparing the next chapter of your soulmate journey to unfold in a way that honors your growth, your healing, and your emotional strength. Stay present, because now the sixth phase of this awakening unfolds into the realm of emotional recalibration, where everything you've manifested internally begins reorganizing how you experience connection, intimacy, and self-worth, and this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because recalibration is the moment when your emotional compass resets, pointing you toward healthier patterns and away from old habits that once felt familiar but no longer serve your evolution, and you may already sense this happening through subtle inner shifts, choosing peace over drama, clarity over confusion, grounded conversations over emotional guessing games, and these changes are not coincidences, they are signs that your nervous system is adapting to stability, learning how to feel safe without chaos, and learning how to experience love without anxiety, and this is powerful, because many people mistake emotional intensity for passion, when in reality true connection feels steady, secure, and supportive, and this stage is teaching you that difference, rewiring your emotional responses so you no longer crave uncertainty as proof of depth, and while you undergo this recalibration, your soulmate energy is also adjusting, responding to the new frequency you are broadcasting, because energetic bonds shift when one person evolves, and when you stop reacting and start responding consciously, the dynamic changes, forcing the other person to either meet you at a higher level or recognize that the old dynamic no longer fits, and this is not punishment, it is alignment, the natural result of growth reshaping relationships, and this phase is also about refining your emotional language, the way you express feelings, needs, and boundaries, learning to communicate with clarity instead of emotional charge, with honesty instead of fear, and this communication style creates healthier interactions, because it removes confusion and invites mutual understanding, and mutual understanding is the foundation of lasting connection, and as this recalibration continues, you may notice that your tolerance for inconsistency decreases, not because you've become rigid, but because your standards have matured, recognizing that reliability, transparency, and effort are non-negotiable for emotional safety, and emotional safety is becoming a priority for you now, replacing the thrill of unpredictability with the comfort of stability, and this shift is part of your awakening. The realization that love should enhance your life, not disrupt your peace, and this awareness will guide your choices moving forward, shaping the kind of relationships you allow into your world, and this stage is also encouraging you to strengthen your relationship with yourself, developing self-trust, honoring your intuition, and listening to your inner guidance when something feels aligned or misaligned. And this inner relationship is crucial, because it sets the tone for every external connection, and when you trust yourself, you stop seeking constant reassurance from others, and this independence is attractive, because it carries confidence and emotional security, and emotional security draws people who are capable of offering the same stability in return, and as you embody this recalibration, you may feel moments of emotional relief. The release of tension you didn't even realize you were carrying, the easing of mental loops that once replayed conversations and scenarios. And this relief is a sign that your system is healing, learning how to let go of unnecessary stress and return to balance, and balance is powerful, because it allows you to engage with life from a centered place rather than a reactive one, and this centered energy influences how opportunities present themselves, how people respond to you, and how situations unfold around you. And this phase is also about embracing emotional honesty, both with yourself and others, acknowledging what you truly want, what you truly need, and what you are no longer willing to accept, and this honesty creates alignment between your inner world and outer actions, and alignment attracts experiences that resonate with your truth, and truth-based experiences feel different, they carry ease instead of tension, clarity instead of confusion, mutual effort instead of imbalance. And this is the type of connection you are now becoming ready for, whether it appears through a renewed dynamic with your soulmate or through the arrival of someone new who meets you at your level of growth, and this stage is also about cultivating patience with the process, understanding that emotional recalibration takes time, that habits do not disappear overnight, that healing unfolds gradually, and allowing yourself grace during moments of vulnerability, and grace is important, because it prevents self-judgment and allows compassion to guide your growth. And compassion creates emotional softness, which makes healing easier and more sustainable. And as this phase deepens, you may find yourself naturally drawn to activities that nourish your soul, spending time in nature, engaging in creative expression, deepening spiritual practices, or connecting with supportive people who uplift your energy. And these choices strengthen your foundation, creating a lifestyle that supports emotional well-being rather than draining it. And lifestyle alignment is powerful, because it reinforces your growth on a daily basis. Not just during emotional moments, and this reinforcement creates consistency, and consistency is what transforms temporary change into lasting evolution. And this stage is also teaching you to recognize red flags early, not through fear, but through awareness, noticing patterns that indicate misalignment and choosing not to ignore them. And this discernment protects your heart while allowing you to remain open. And openness combined with discernment creates healthy boundaries, and boundaries create respect, and respect is essential for meaningful relationships. And as this recalibration phase approaches completion, you may sense a shift in how you view your soulmate story, seeing it less as a source of emotional struggle and more as a chapter that contributed to your growth. And this perspective brings peace, because it allows you to appreciate the lesson without clinging to the pain. And appreciation transforms memory into wisdom, and wisdom guides future choices, and future choices shape destiny, and destiny is not fixed, it responds to who you become, and you are becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more emotionally grounded. And this transformation will influence everything that comes next, from the people you attract to the opportunities that align with your path. And as this phase settles, you may feel a quiet confidence rising, the knowing that you can navigate love without losing yourself, that you can open your heart without abandoning your boundaries, and that you can trust yourself to choose what supports your well-being. And that confidence is your confirmation that recalibration is complete, that your emotional compass has reset, and that you are now ready to move into the next stage of your journey with clarity, strength, and balanced energy, prepared to experience love in a way that honors your growth rather than repeating your past. Stay open, because now the seventh phase rises into the realm of embodiment, where everything you have learned stops being theory and becomes the way you naturally live, breathe, and love. And this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because embodiment is the moment when emotional wisdom settles into your bones, shaping your posture, your tone, your choices, and your reactions without effort. And you may already sense this shift through subtle changes, the way you pause before responding, the calm you feel during uncertainty, the steady confidence that replaces emotional urgency. And this calm is not emptiness, it is presence, the ability to remain grounded even when circumstances are unclear. And presence is powerful, because it keeps you anchored in truth instead of imagination, and truth is what attracts aligned experiences. And as this embodiment deepens, you may notice that old triggers lose their grip, situations that once sent you spiraling now feel manageable, memories that once stirred pain now feel distant. And this emotional neutrality does not mean you stopped caring, it means you stopped suffering unnecessarily. And that is growth, and growth changes the way people interact with you, because energy responds to stability, and stability creates trust, and trust invites openness, and this openness may show up through unexpected conversations, sincere apologies, honest reflections, or shifts in how your soulmate or others approach you. And this is not because you demanded change, it is because you became different, and difference alters dynamics. And this phase is also about emotional sovereignty, the realization that you no longer hand over your peace to external circumstances, that your happiness is not dependent on someone else's mood, attention, or availability, and this sovereignty is liberating, because it allows you to love freely without fear of loss controlling your behavior, and when fear dissolves, authenticity emerges, and authenticity is magnetic, because it resonates with truth rather than performance, and this stage is also teaching you discernment at a deeper level, not just recognizing what feels wrong, but understanding why something feels right, learning to trust resonance instead of excitement alone, sensing emotional alignment rather than chasing intensity, and this discernment will guide your future connections, helping you choose relationships that nourish rather than drain, that uplift rather than exhaust, and this is important, because emotional nourishment is what allows love to grow sustainably, and sustainability is what your heart has been craving beneath all the longing, not temporary sparks, but steady warmth, not chaos, but consistency, and as this embodiment phase unfolds, you may feel inspired to restructure your daily habits, prioritizing rest, movement, creativity, or spiritual practices that support your well-being, and these changes strengthen your foundation, creating a lifestyle that aligns with your values rather than fighting against them, and lifestyle alignment is powerful, because it reinforces emotional health on a daily basis, not just during intense moments, and this reinforcement creates resilience, the ability to bounce back from challenges without losing your center. And resilience is essential, because it allows you to navigate relationships with maturity instead of fragility, and maturity invites respect, because it demonstrates self-awareness, accountability, and emotional balance, and these qualities shape how others treat you, including your soulmate, who may begin seeing you through a new lens, recognizing your strength, your calm presence, your independence, and this recognition can shift how they approach the connection, but regardless of their response, your growth remains the anchor of your next chapter, and this stage is also about forgiveness. Not necessarily reconciliation, but emotional release, letting go of resentment that once occupied space in your heart, and forgiveness does not mean forgetting boundaries, it means choosing peace over carrying bitterness, and peace creates space for new experiences, new opportunities, and new connections to enter, and this space is important, because crowded emotional space blocks flow, while openness invites alignment, and alignment brings synchronicities, moments that feel divinely timed, encounters that carry meaning, and situations that unfold smoothly without force, and you may already notice these synchronicities appearing, subtle yet powerful confirmations that you are on the right path, that your growth is supported, that your journey is guided, and this guidance does not remove challenges, but it provides clarity during transitions, and clarity allows you to move forward with confidence, and confidence is not arrogance, it is quiet assurance. The knowing that you can handle whatever arises, that you trust yourself to choose wisely, and that trust is the foundation of emotional freedom, because it removes the need for constant reassurance from others, and this freedom changes how you love, because you no longer cling, you choose, and choosing feels empowering, because it comes from abundance rather than lack. An abundance mindset attracts abundance experiences, because it shifts focus from scarcity to possibility, and possibility is where new chapters begin. And this stage is also reminding you that your soulmate story is not limited to one narrative, one outcome, one person. It is part of a larger journey of self-discovery, healing, and evolution. And sometimes soulmate connections are meant to transform into lessons that prepare you for something greater, and sometimes they evolve into deeper partnerships when both people grow, and both paths carry value, because both lead you closer to your highest self, and your highest self is who you are becoming now. Someone who values peace, honors boundaries, communicates clearly, and chooses love that feels supportive rather than draining. And as this embodiment phase continues, you may sense a quiet readiness building inside you, the feeling that you are prepared for whatever comes next, whether it brings reconnection, closure, or new beginnings. And this readiness is calm rather than anxious, steady rather than rushed, because it is rooted in self-trust rather than fear. And that self-trust is your greatest achievement in this journey, because it allows you to navigate love with wisdom instead of desperation, and wisdom shapes destiny, because it influences the decisions you make, the opportunities you accept, and the standards you uphold, and these factors determine the quality of experiences you attract. And as this phase approaches completion, you may notice that your emotional world feels more stable, your thoughts clearer, your heart lighter. And this is the sign that embodiment has begun, that growth is no longer something you strive for, but something you live. And part 7 ends here because this is the integration into identity phase, the moment when healing becomes habit, when awareness becomes instinct, and when your soulmate journey transforms into a broader path of emotional freedom, strength, and authentic connection. Remain aware, because now the 8th phase unfolds into the realm of expansion through experience, where your inner transformation begins inviting new situations that test, strengthen, and refine everything you have become. And this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now, because growth does not end with understanding, it deepens through living, through moments where you choose differently than you once would have, where you respond with patience instead of urgency, where you walk away from misalignment instead of clinging to familiarity. And these moments shape your future more than any affirmation ever could. And you may already notice subtle shifts in your daily interactions, conversations feeling more honest, connections becoming more intentional, and your energy attracting people who reflect your emotional maturity. And this is not coincidence, it is resonance, the natural result of aligning your inner world with your outer choices. And resonance draws experiences that match your frequency, and your frequency is now grounded, clear, and steady, creating space for healthier relationships, meaningful collaborations, and opportunities that support your purpose. And this stage is also about courage, not loud bravery, but quiet strength, the willingness to honor your truth even when it feels uncomfortable, to say what needs to be said with compassion, to step into unknown territory with trust. And this courage is building because you are no longer afraid of being alone with yourself, and that self-connection is powerful, because it allows you to explore life without needing constant emotional validation, and validation from within creates stability, and stability allows you to take risks aligned with your growth, whether that means opening your heart again, pursuing a new path, or releasing what no longer fits. And this stage invites you to redefine success in love, shifting from chasing intensity to cultivating depth, from seeking attention to building mutual respect, from fantasizing about potential to recognizing present reality. And this redefinition is important, because it changes what you look for, what you accept, and what you attract. And attraction responds to clarity, not confusion, and clarity is becoming your strength now, guiding your decisions and shaping your interactions. And as this phase continues, you may feel inspired to explore new environments, social spaces, creative outlets, or personal projects that expand your identity beyond past emotional roles. And this expansion is healthy, because it reminds you that you are more than one story, more than one connection, more than one season of your life. And this broader sense of self creates freedom, the freedom to choose experiences that nourish your spirit instead of repeating patterns that drain you. And this freedom is magnetic, because it carries authenticity. And authenticity draws people who resonate with your truth, not with an emotional mask, and this stage is also about releasing the final remnants of self-doubt, the quiet voice that once questioned your worth, your lovability, your value, and replacing it with self-assurance, the steady knowing that you deserve consistency, honesty, and effort, and this self-assurance influences how you walk into conversations, how you handle conflict, and how you express needs, and expression shapes outcomes. Because clear communication creates understanding, and understanding prevents misalignment. And misalignment once caused confusion, while alignment now brings peace, and peace allows you to enjoy connection without emotional tension, and this enjoyment is part of your healing, the ability to experience relationships without carrying fear of abandonment or rejection, and this stage is also encouraging you to trust timing, recognizing that not every door opens immediately, that some opportunities arrive after preparation is complete, and that patience allows life to unfold naturally. Rather than forcing outcomes, and forcing once created frustration, while trust creates ease, and ease allows you to notice synchronicities, moments that feel divinely timed, conversations that arrive at the right moment, opportunities that appear unexpectedly, and these moments reinforce your belief that alignment is real, that growth creates movement, that awareness shapes reality, and this reinforcement builds confidence. The confidence to continue following your inner guidance instead of external noise, and inner guidance is becoming stronger now, offering subtle nudges that lead you toward what feels right rather than what simply looks appealing, and this discernment protects your energy, allowing you to invest time and emotion into situations that support your well-being, and well-being is becoming your priority, replacing emotional chaos with calm purpose. And this shift will influence how you approach love moving forward, choosing connection that adds to your life rather than complicates it, and this stage is also about celebrating progress, acknowledging the distance you've traveled emotionally, honoring the strength it took to confront uncomfortable truths, and recognizing the wisdom gained through experience, and celebration is powerful, because it reinforces positive change, creating momentum that carries you forward into new chapters, and momentum attracts opportunity. And opportunity opens doors, and doors lead to new experiences that continue shaping your evolution, and as this phase deepens, you may notice that your perspective on your soulmate story has shifted again, seeing it less as a source of longing and more as a catalyst that pushed you towards self-discovery, healing, and alignment, and this perspective brings gratitude, because it allows you to appreciate the lesson without clinging to the pain, and gratitude raises emotional vibration, creating a sense of abundance rather than lack, and abundance mindset attracts fulfilling experiences, because it shifts focus from what is missing to what is possible, and possibility is where creativity and growth flourish, and this stage is also reminding you that you are allowed to desire love without losing yourself, to open your heart without abandoning your boundaries, to dream without escaping reality, and this balance is the foundation of mature relationships, because it allows intimacy to exist alongside independence, and independence alongside connection, and this harmony is what your heart has been preparing for beneath all the emotional work, and as this phase approaches completion, you may sense a subtle excitement about the future, not anxious anticipation, but grounded curiosity, the feeling that new opportunities are forming, that fresh chapters are approaching, and that you are ready to meet them with clarity and confidence. And this readiness is your sign that expansion through experience has begun, that your growth is now active in the physical world, shaping your life in tangible ways. And Part 8 ends here because this is the lived growth stage, the moment where transformation steps out of your inner world and into your daily reality, preparing the final phase where everything integrates into lasting change and emotional freedom.